It is fascinating to reflect on the lack of information about Jesus' life during his youth and what happened to Mother Mary and the disciples after the crucifixion. Dolores Cannon's book, Jesus and the Essence, gains relevance in this context because it offers a different perspective based on her work with clients and a thorough verification of information about this topic. Cannon devoted much of his career and time to regressive hypnosis, a method that allowed him to access the memories and past life experiences of his clients. Through this process, he claimed to have discovered relevant information that could reveal aspects of Jesus' life not found in the Bible. It is important to note that Cannon did not intend to destroy pre-existing religious beliefs, but rather to improve them by providing them with access to a wider variety of data. He thought that knowing these omitted details could help him better understand the figure of Jesus and his spiritual message. Cannon argued that omitting certain aspects of the Bible should not be a cause for conflict, but should give us an opportunity to explore and broaden our understanding of Jesus' life. Furthermore, he pointed out that conventional religious contexts rarely discuss many of these details, rendering his discovery even more intriguing and valuable. It is important to remember that Cannon's beliefs are based on his own method and technique of research and his work. Jesus and the Essence is a personal interpretation of the data collected through regressive hypnosis. Dolores Cannon must have embarked on an exceptional and fascinating journey to discover these hidden truths. Dive into the information revealed during regressive hypnosis sessions, focused solely on faith and beliefs, implies believing that you possess valuable information and feeling the responsibility to share it, even if it challenges established norms and some religious beliefs. It is surprising that people came to Dolores to confirm his discoveries in a variety of ways. He received a lot of letters and books by mail from people who could validate and provide evidence of many of the concepts he expressed in his works. These external confirmations support the relevance and impact of Cannon's studies and theories. Their ability to connect with their clients through regressive hypnosis and collect information that is aligned with historical and personal data is remarkable, and their interest and ability to thoroughly verify and validate such information increase the credibility of their findings. Dolores Cannon's approach enriches the dialogue about Jesus and the essence of his message. By challenging conventional beliefs and exploring new perspectives, it opens up the possibility of a deeper and more comprehensive understanding of the central figure of Christianity. Although some of the ideas presented by Cannon may be controversial and not supported by all academic or religious currents, his work has stimulated critical thinking and encouraged people to explore beyond the boundaries set by religious traditions. The figure of Joseph of Arimathea, which has been practically ignored and barely mentioned in the Bible, during her regressions and research, Dolores Cannon revealed intriguing information about this figure. According to reports gathered through regressive hypnosis, Joseph of Arimathea was not only a rich man who provided a tomb for Jesus, but he was also an uncle of Mary. Discovering that Joseph of Arimathea was one of the richest people in the world at that time raises questions about why the Bible does not explain his presence and importance in greater detail. This omission is disconcerting, considering the relevance of his role in Jesus' life and his family relationship with Mary. The discovery of Joseph of Arimathea's family relationship with Mary, along with his role as the provider of Jesus' tomb, has given new meaning to biblical history. It is claimed that it had fleets of ships and was involved in extensive international trade, mainly with tin, which it obtained from tin mines in England, but also traded with other commodities. The information sheds new light on José de Arimathea's socio-economic position in society at the time. Ownership of vessel fleets and participation in international trade demonstrate its wealth and involvement in important economic activities. Cannon's study of less-known characters in biblical history undoubtedly broadens the perspective and encourages us to explore beyond conventional narratives. we can gain a richer and more comprehensive understanding of the events and characters that had a significant impact on Jesus' life and the development of Christianity as we know it today. It is fascinating to think that Jesus might have accompanied Joseph of Arimathea on his journeys, and that he had the opportunity to study with some of the wisest teachers of that time. During these journeys, Jesus would have had the opportunity to acquire knowledge from various sources and expand his spiritual understanding, according to the claims presented by Dolores Cannon. The story becomes more mysterious and captivating when it refers to the legend that Jesus visited the coasts of Glastonbury and other places in the region. According to this legend, even Jesus' mother, Mary, would have accompanied him at times when he was young. In that region of the world, the stories endure and garner appreciation, signifying a unique bond between Joseph of Arimathea, Jesus, and Glastonbury. The mention of José de Arimathea as the man of leaf in a Tin Miner's song is intriguing. It is possible to consider this song as a way to preserve and keep alive the legends and history related to Joseph of Arimathea in that region. Popular traditions and songs can transmit and preserve information that is difficult to find in written records. During her lectures in England, many people approached Dolores Cannon and mentioned these stories, making them even more popular in the region. The local community's interest in and appreciation for the figure of Joseph of Arimathea and his connection with Jesus highlights the importance and lasting impact of these legends on the area's culture and identity. It is interesting to mention that Dolores Cannon received a book entitled The Drama of the Lost Disciples from Jowett, George F. Today, you can easily find this book on the internet. The first publication of this book took place in 1961. You can find a lot of information about Joseph of Arimathea at the beginning of this book. According to the data collected in this letter, all the information about Joseph of Arimathea identifies him as a rich and influential man, both in the Jewish community and in the Roman hierarchical structures. In addition, the book reveals an interesting fact. According to the author, Joseph of Arimathea was the younger brother of the father of the Virgin Mary, which would make him the uncle of Mary and, therefore, a grandfather of Jesus. This information aligns with the findings of Dolores Cannon, who was surprised to read this book. Dolores asserts that the book draws from real events, and the author personally visited Rome and other locations that house historical documents. The author delved into ancient documents, uncovering letters and numerous stories not found in the Bible. These valuable sources are based on ancient facts and support the author's reports. Given the lack of detail in the Bible, examining the fate of the other characters after Jesus' crucifixion is fascinating. Biblical accounts primarily concentrate on Jesus' life and teachings, with minimal or no detail provided on the stories of his other disciples, and, particularly, the events surrounding Mother Mary. The book, The Drama of the Lost Disciples, reveals that the disciples faced threats shortly after the crucifixion. A concerted effort was underway to eliminate all those related to Jesus, putting Joseph of Arimathea and Mother Mary at risk. Faced with this threat, it was clear that they had to leave Israel to protect their lives. However, due to the great wealth and influence of Joseph of Arimathea, the situation presented a dilemma. The direct execution could have caused a significant uprising and problems with the Roman authorities, who were aware of their power. In the face of this situation, the responsible people created a plan that seemed more feasible. They chose not to carry it out themselves, but to let nature take care of them. The story continues with the Romans gathering all these individuals and placing them on a boat. However, records differ on the exact number of passengers on board, although some reports indicate that there could have been up to 100. The Bible mentions Joseph of Arimathea, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, Lazarus, and other disciples as prominent figures. The Romans did not want to kill these people directly. Instead, they wanted the vast sea to take their lives away gradually and apparently naturally. They were placed on a ship that lacked minerals and sails, allowing them to drift in the middle of the Mediterranean. This situation creates a dark and dangerous environment for those on board. They were at the mercy of the currents and the unpredictable sea climate, and they had no resources or means to sail. The Romans sought to eradicate these Jesus-related individuals without taking direct accountability for their demise. Those on board faced a series of challenges and dangers throughout this forced crossing. Thirst, hunger, and exposure to the elements were constant risks. They must have endured immense emotional turmoil, uncertain about the possibility of rescue or the sealing of their fate in the Mediterranean waters. This story fuels intrigue and suspense as it invites us to imagine the struggle and strength of these characters as they face an extreme situation. Moreover, it leads us to reflect on the cruelty and determination of those who wish to remove any trace of the influence of Jesus and his followers. Thrown to drift in the vast and cruel Mediterranean Sea, it seemed impossible for anyone to survive. The deliberate decision to abandon these Jesus-related individuals in a boat with no propulsion, guide, minerals, or candles was a calculated attempt to eliminate them. The Romans were convinced that they had escaped them, as they could not conceive of their survival under such extreme conditions. This event became one of the most remarkable miracles Dolores has ever known, and she discovered it during her investigation. The survival of these people in the middle of the open sea, without an apparent means of navigation, challenges all logic and rational explanation. The absence of such an extraordinary and significant event in biblical accounts is disconcerting. The ship on which the followers of Jesus and other important figures travelled, fortunately, exceeded all expectations and finally landed on the coast of France. We now refer to this location as Sainte-Marie, which translates to Marie Street of the Sea. In this location, there is a natural cave that served as a shelter for the survivors. When they reached the coast, they sought refuge in one of these coastal caves, which provided them with protection from the elements and allowed them to recover from their exhausting crossing. This discovery reveals an intriguing and forgotten chapter of biblical history, revealing an incredibly supernatural destiny for the ship's passengers. The mention of this event and its place in Sainte-Marie offers a new perspective and an exciting approach to investigating the events following the crucifixion of Jesus. This intriguing and mysterious story makes us think about the strength of faith, divine intervention, and the ability to overcome obstacles that seem insurmountable. The fact that the lost disciples managed to cross the Mediterranean Sea without any direction signs for the ship is really surprising and is considered one of the most extraordinary miracles in history. It is difficult to understand how they could accomplish such a feat without any signs of navigation, which suggests that a divine intervention led them to this small place on the French coast. Today, people recognize this location and refer to it as the Legend, a name that evokes mystery and fascination. At one of Dolores's regression sessions, a woman recalled her previous life as an 18th century gypsy. Every year, she and her community would gather at a specific location on the French coast, a tradition deeply ingrained in the Roma culture. The Roma communities held these annual meetings to celebrate together and resolve any problems or disputes. During one of these annual meetings, which took place in Sainte-Marie-d'Elma on the French coast, she heard for the first time the legend surrounding this place. There were statues that made this place a sacred place inside the cave where the meeting took place. These statues represented three figures: Mary, the mother of Jesus, Joseph Arimathea, and Mary Magdalene, who, according to legend, discovered Jesus' empty tomb. The place was filled with mysticism and spirituality due to the presence of these statues and their sacred significance. Returning to the account of the disciples, it is known that after a few days of rest on land, they began their journey again, but this time divided into different boats. While some were fortunate enough to encounter a vessel with superior quality and equipment, others found themselves compelled to navigate on vessels devoid of sails and navigational aids. Joseph of Arimathea, along with some other disciples and his mother Mary, were among those who boarded a much more humble boat. This modest boat took them to England, a place of special significance to Joseph. Joseph brought Jesus to earth on numerous occasions, particularly during their tin harvesting efforts. During his time in England, Jesus also studied with the Druids, who had a university in Glastonbury. This connection between Joseph of Arimathea, the lost disciples, and the land of England adds even more mystery and meaning to their history. The fact that Joseph had repeatedly taken Jesus to this place suggests a special relationship and possibly a deeper purpose behind his journeys. Moreover, the fact that Jesus studied with the Druids in Glastonbury indicates a significant cultural and spiritual exchange between his teachings and the Druid traditions of the time. The presence of a Druid university in Glastonbury also highlights the historical and spiritual importance of this place in England. Glastonbury has long been considered a sacred and mystical site, associated with ancient legends and traditions. The arrival of Joseph of Arimathea and the lost disciples to this earth adds an additional layer of riddle and meaning to the story of his journey. After their arrival in England, Joseph of Arimathea and his lost disciples are believed to have founded the world's first Christian church in Glastonbury. Although at that time it was not referred to as a church, since Jesus never intended to establish a formal religious institution, it is considered the first place of its kind in the history of Christianity. The arrival of Joseph of Arimathea and the lost disciples at Glastonbury marked a significant milestone in the expansion of Jesus' teachings. They are believed to have brought with them the knowledge and experiences they had acquired during their time with Jesus, and they shared these teachings with those who were willing to listen and learn in that region. Other disciples reportedly dispersed Jesus' teachings throughout the world, in addition to the church in Glastonbury. Jesus resurrected Lazarus, who is believed to have travelled to France and founded another church there. Lazarus's presence in France added an additional dimension to Europe's expansion of Christianity. Conversely, speculation suggests that Mary Magdalene significantly contributed to the establishment of a comparable church in Spain. Mary Magdalene has been the subject of many interpretations and legends over the centuries, and her influence on the spread of Christianity is considered significant. These church foundations in different parts of the world demonstrate the rapid spread of Jesus' teachings and the formation of Christian communities in distant places. It is clear that the lost disciples, as well as other followers of Jesus, felt driven to share their faith and establish communities of believers in various regions. The foundation of the first church in Glastonbury, as well as the churches established by Lazarus in France and Mary Magdalene in Spain, highlight the importance of these places in Christianity's history. These sites have become holy and pilgrimage destinations for believers, leaving a lasting mark on the Christian tradition. Joseph of Arimathea and the lost disciples established a truly unique church in Glastonbury. Following Jesus' wishes, they avoided calling it a conventional Christian church. Instead, they chose a name that reflected their commitment to live according to Jesus' teachings and carry out their practices in the way he intended. This differentiated approach by the church at Glastonbury highlighted its desire to remain faithful to the essence of Jesus' teachings, rather than focusing on the creation of an institutionalized religious structure. They considered that the true essence of their faith was to live according to the principles and values transmitted by Jesus during his ministry. Jesus promoted a decentralized approach to preaching during his trips through Israel and Galilee. Instead of having a single individual in charge of the entire organization, followers gathered at people's homes and in various places to share their knowledge and experiences. These meetings were open spaces where different people had the opportunity to speak, give lectures, and discuss a variety of topics, including metaphysical teachings, trance and meditation techniques, and healing methods. This open and participatory approach reflected the essence of what Jesus was doing. He sought to empower people and encourage their individual spiritual growth. He believed in the ability of each individual to connect with divinity and share his unique wisdom with others. Instead of establishing a strict hierarchy, Jesus fostered an environment in which anyone could contribute and share their gifts and knowledge. The meeting's decentralized format facilitated the sharing and mutual enrichment of various people's teachings and experiences. Each individual had the opportunity to express themselves and bring their unique perspective to the group. This fostered a diversity of ideas and approaches, allowing each individual to discover and develop their own spiritual path. In addition to teaching, these meetings also provided a space for the practice of trance and meditation techniques. It was believed that, through these practices, people could have direct experiences of connection with the divine and access greater understanding and inner wisdom. The exchange of healing methods was also an integral part of these meetings, as it was believed to be important to heal both the body and the spirit. The central principle of these meetings was openness and inclusion. No matter the social status or academic background of a person, everyone was welcome to contribute and share their perspectives. This defied prevailing social norms, providing a legitimate space for the voices and experiences of those typically marginalized. The goal of this decentralized and participatory approach to the way of Jesus was to foster individual autonomy and spiritual responsibility. We created an environment of mutual growth and learning by empowering people to take their own path and share their wisdom. This first approach to the teachings of Jesus in his short time on earth contrasts with the subsequent development of a hierarchical structure in the Church, with leaders such as the Pope or the bishops dictating rules and regulations. During the early days of Christianity, the Church was based on a community of committed followers who met on an equal footing. There was no central authority to impose their will on others. Instead, they fostered diversity of voices and perspectives and believed in the power of collective wisdom. The Church's traditional teachings often overlook or minimize this aspect. However, there is historical evidence and tradition that supports the notion that Joseph of Arimathea, Mother Mary, and his disciples established a central base in Glastonbury, from where they sent missionaries to various regions to share Jesus' teachings. The conventional teachings of the Church often overlook or underestimate the importance of this aspect of the Bible. It is interesting to note that Joseph of Arimathea, Mother Mary, and the disciples played a key role in establishing a central base in Glastonbury, from where they sent missionaries to various regions to share Jesus' teachings. Joseph of Arimathea had multiple motivations for choosing Glastonbury as the centre of operations. In addition to his association with tin mines, Joseph is believed to have a deep connection with the Druids who lived in that particular area. This connection was based not only on spiritual affinity, but also on the personal and family ties he had established with the ruling families of the region. It is believed that several descendants of Joseph married members of these families, which generated close and lasting relationships. These ties and associations led to the creation of the first church, now known as the most sacred place on earth, near Glastonbury. This place became a spiritual centre of great importance for the followers of Jesus, from where they radiated the light of their teachings to different destinations through the missionaries they sent. The choice of Glastonbury as the epicentre of this central base allowed a more direct connection with the original teachings and message of Jesus. The community fostered a more intimate and personal relationship with Jesus' teachings by avoiding rigid hierarchical structures. This allowed followers to experience greater autonomy and responsibility on their own spiritual path, while embracing the diversity of voices and perspectives within the community. It is worth acknowledging that this historical perspective can generate debates and different interpretations. However, it is important to consider it as part of the complex and diverse tapestry of Christian history. It emphasizes the idea that the message of Jesus transcends geographical barriers and manifests itself in various forms in different places, adapting to the cultural and social realities of each context. The relationship between history and faith was evident during the Lord's visit to the region. The city's local abbey, renowned for its authenticity and devotion, endorses this historical account. The region houses the graves of sacred figures such as Joseph, the disciples, and the venerated mother of Jesus, which contributes to their recognition of their importance. Various pieces of evidence, such as sculptures and artistic representations that have survived over the centuries, support the presence of these sacred tombs in the region. These visual representations have been considered tangible evidence of Mary's presence and burial in this sacred place. Lazarus played a significant role in the development of other churches in France after the founding of the first church in Glastonbury. The church recognises these historical facts because official records of heated debates from the 15th century document these events. The main aim of these disputes was to definitively determine the location of the first church's foundation. An intense historical and theological debate arose from the controversy over which church, that of England or that of France, could be considered the oldest. However, a thorough review of the available evidence led to the final conclusion that England was the birthplace of the first Christian church. The difference between the two churches in terms of foundation date was minimal, only 1 or 2 years. Official records state that the Christian religion originated from the direct followers of Jesus during that period, supporting these historical details. History often ignores Mary Magdalene, an important figure. These official records have recognized and valued her role as a close follower of Jesus, as well as her contribution to the spread of Christianity. It significantly contributes to the dissemination of Jesus' message and the formation of faith communities across various regions, according to research. His influence and contribution to the formation of the early church have gained recognition and appreciation in academic and theological circles. The historical neglect of Jesus' disciples, such as Mary Magdalene, is largely due to the omission of their stories in the Bible. Over the centuries, predominant religious narratives have tended to highlight mainly male disciples, relegating women to secondary roles or completely neglecting their importance and contributions. In particular, Mary Magdalene was a close and beloved figure of Jesus. It is believed that she received a one-of-a-kind education in Egypt, where she may have served as an Egyptian priestess and gained extensive knowledge about gnosis and metaphysics. This knowledge allowed him to maintain important conversations with Jesus, which many others, including his own followers, could not maintain because of their lack of knowledge and understanding of these metaphysical aspects. Jesus had a unique understanding and perspective, so he often felt isolated from others. This led him to appreciate more the time he spent with Mary Magdalene, exploring and discussing these deep issues together. The close relationship between Jesus and Mary Magdalene also provoked jealousy and conflict among the disciples, especially on Peter's part. Many accounts describe Peter's attempts to undermine Mary Magdalene and question why she received so much attention and responsibility from Jesus. These rivalry and conflict dynamics among the disciples demonstrate Mary Magdalene's importance and significant impact on Jesus' life and the formation of the early Christian movement, as well as the personal and emotional challenges they faced. Recognized regressionist Dolores Cannon never intended her findings to change anyone's belief system. Their approach has always been based on sharing perspectives and information with others, encouraging people to consider these ideas and form their own opinions. The aim was to strengthen people's confidence in their ability to discern and make decisions. Cannon constantly emphasized the importance of using our own minds and reasoning skills to determine what we believe, rather than handing over personal power to any external authority. She urged people to ask many questions and consider various perspectives before reaching their own conclusions. His main message was the importance of thinking for yourself and not blindly accepting something simply because someone affirms it as true. The fundamental premise of Cannon's philosophy was that each person is unique and has his own learning and spiritual evolution journey. She believed in free will and the ability of each person to make conscious decisions based on their own understanding and discernment. Its aim was to respect and honor the diversity of beliefs, as well as allow each person to develop his or her own truth. It is important to point out that his message was not an invitation to blindly believe in your own experiences or discoveries. Instead, it was an invitation to use those experiences or findings as a source of inspiration and personal exploration. It is crucial to acknowledge that every individual possesses a distinct journey and viewpoint. In short, Dolores Cannon's work, Jesus and the Essenians, reveals missing pieces in the history of Jesus and his followers, backed by historical evidence and legends, which gives us a fascinating and enriching perspective on Jesus' life and the early days of Christianity. Joseph of Arimathea's journey with Mother Mary and the disciples after the crucifixion, his miraculous survival at sea, and the establishment of the first Christian church at Glastonbury illuminate historical aspects often overlooked or underestimated. These accounts challenge conventional notions of how to organize religion and invite us to think of the path as a decentralized and open approach to spirituality and Jesus' teachings. The journey of Joseph of Arimathea, Mother Mary, and the disciples following the crucifixion, their miraculous survival at sea, and the establishment of the first Christian church at Glastonbury, shed light on historical aspects often overlooked or undervalued. These accounts challenge traditional ideas about religious organization and encourage us to view the path as a decentralized and open approach to Jesus' spirituality and teachings. Mary Magdalene's role as a wise and influential disciple is critical. His presence and his close relationship with Jesus help us to better understand the diverse and dynamic group of followers who accompanied Jesus. This approach enables us to expand our viewpoint and acknowledge the often overlooked role of women in the history of Christianity. Dolores Cannon's work reminds us of the importance of questioning, exploring, and seeking knowledge independently. It motivates us to resist externally imposed, rigid beliefs, pre-established norms, or dogmas. Instead, it invites us to use our own minds and discernment abilities to determine what resonates as true to us individually. This perspective encourages us to take a broader view and explore different interpretations. It urges us not to blindly accept the teachings of others, but to investigate, reflect, and draw our own conclusions. It reminds us that each individual has his own path of learning and spiritual evolution, and that it is essential to trust in our own inner wisdom. Dolores Cannon invites us to develop an open and flexible mindset. It encourages us not to remain stuck in limiting beliefs, but to be willing to expand our perspectives and consider new ideas. The legacy of Dolores Cannon highlights the importance of intellectual and spiritual exploration as a means to a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Through Dolores Cannon's research and analysis, some details emerged about the early history of Christianity and the key figures involved in its formation. These discoveries enrich our understanding of faith as, through its methods, it managed to reveal a hidden truth to all of us. Now I want to share with you a very particular story that arose between Dolores Cannon and a client. Mary was a woman who sought answers about Jesus Christ's life and purpose in the world. Mary had read about the famous hypnotherapist Dolores Cannon and her ability to make regressions to past lives. He decided to seek his help in obtaining information about Jesus. Mary met Dolores Cannon and told her that she had a desire to improve her understanding of Jesus' life and teachings. Dolores agreed to assist her in her quest because of her extensive experience with regressions. Together, they started the hypnosis process to investigate Mary's past lives and try to obtain relevant data. Under the hypnotic state, Mary began to remember a life in ancient Jerusalem during the time when Jesus preached and performed miracles. Mary saw herself as Sarah, who had been a close follower of Jesus. Sarah started sharing fascinating details about Jesus' life that the traditional Gospels had not recorded, as Dolores delved deeper into the regression. He revealed that Jesus had only carried out secret teachings and esoteric knowledge for a select group of followers, including Sarah. Sarah described how Jesus taught about the inner divine nature and the importance of direct spiritual connection with the Creator. He also discussed how Jesus communicated ancient spiritual wisdom through symbols and parables, and how those who were receptive interpreted these teachings. As the regression continued, Dolores and Mary discovered intriguing information about Jesus' relationship with Mary Magdalene. Sarah revealed that Mary Magdalene was a close companion to Jesus, not only as a follower but also as his equal in the transmission of spiritual teachings. Sarah shared details about the deep connection and spiritual love that existed between Jesus and Mary Magdalene. He explained how official history had minimized and distorted Mary Magdalene's influence, despite her essential role in supporting and disseminating Jesus' teachings. The revelations she had experienced deeply moved Mary as the regression came to an end. He had obtained a more complete and enriching perspective on the life of Jesus and his spiritual message. Mary realized that Jesus' teachings were far more profound and comprehensive than had been conventionally transmitted. He understood the importance of questioning established beliefs and seeking the truth for itself. With her new understanding, Mary decided to share her experience and the lessons she had learned through regression with others. Through lectures and writings, she sought to spread a message of love, compassion, and spiritual connection based on the broader vision she had acquired. Mary's story and her regression with Dolores Cannon became a powerful testimony to how the exploration of past lives and the search for knowledge can reveal hidden aspects of history and provide a deeper understanding of figures like Jesus Christ. Dolores Cannon's work on Jesus Christ offers us a distinctive perspective and encourages us to go beyond superficial religious teachings, deepening into the universal principles of love, compassion, and personal transformation. His ideas have the power to inspire us to embark on a deep journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, whether or not we connect with his points of view. Dolores Cannon's main message is that we all have the ability to transform ourselves and contribute to a more compassionate and loving world. It encourages us to contemplate the timeless wisdom of Jesus Christ's teachings and the possibility that his journey will contain deeper spiritual truths. By embracing the essence of Jesus as a spiritual messenger, it motivates us to embark on our own transformative journey towards greater love, compassion, and spiritual awakening. Cannon's work invites us to question, search, and explore the deep mysteries of existence. The story of Jesus Christ is even more extraordinary than we could have imagined, and it invites us to reconsider the limits of our understanding. His thoughts encourage us to overcome the barriers imposed by dogmatic interpretations and to open ourselves to new perspectives. It motivates us to explore the connection between our personal inner metamorphosis and the broader spirituality that Jesus Christ embodied. Finally, Dolores Cannon's work encourages us to question our rooted beliefs, to open our hearts and minds to new perspectives, and to explore spiritual truths beyond the conventional. It encourages us to embark on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, inspiring us to live with love, compassion, and a greater awareness of our connection with the world around us. If you enjoy this content, I encourage you to give the video a like. In addition, leave us your comments and share your beliefs about this topic with us. We will be happy to read them. Subscribe to our channel for more content on this fascinating topic. Thank you again for your support and for being part of this community. See you in the next video. See you soon.